Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Sean Stevenson, here with my beautiful co-host, talented co-host and producer, Jade Harrell. What's up, Jade?
What's up, Sean?
How are you doing today?
I am swawesome.
What is swawesome?
I am simply awesome. Awesome sauce.
It sounds like you were swollen awesome.
Swollen awesome. So awesome it's swelling me up.
I loved it. Loved it. Well, I hope everyone else is doing amazing today. And we've got a fantastic show.
Bananas.
I can't even tell you how excited I am. We've got a world record holder in the building. We've got an Olympian who's won multiple gold medals. We've got Jackie Joyner-Kersee joining us on the show today. And today I'm really interested and dedicated to sharing more information about longevity and also about inspiration, you know, to find out how to find that trigger within yourself to help you to really reach your best self and become, you know, the greatest version of yourself, really.
Absolutely.
And learning from people like that is really like a secret.
Yeah.
You know, it's a secret leverage point that we all can get access to. And it's just tuning into shows like this. So I'm really, really excited.
I am too.
But first, let's give a huge shout out to our show sponsor, onit.com. Head over to ONNIT/model for 10% off all of your health and human performance supplements. Huge fans of the Hemp Force protein. The most bioavailable protein for the human body is going to be found in hemp. It's a rich source of edestin and albumin, which is a soft globular protein. And it's water soluble. And guess what the human body is mostly made of?
Water.
Be water, my friend. And so it actually, you assimilate it. So you can use less and get more. Whereas if you're buying a conventional whey protein, oftentimes a lot of that's going to be wasted on you. You've got to take a lot and your body's going to be kind of literally off gassing. All right. We call it gas and blast.
That's right.
Because you're not digesting it and assimilating a lot of that, that protein compound in there. So this is why I love Hemp Force so much. Plus it tastes
so good.
It's so delicious.
It's amazing.
It's good.
It's so good.
And that's just icing on the cake because we want the healing process and the health process to be fun and to feel good.
Right. To taste good. To go down easy.
Now, if you try and go get, you know, Company X hemp protein, you're going to be a little disappointed. It's going to taste like a sand and dirt cocktail. All right. Hemp Force is really, you know, number one, it meets those protein needs and it's so digestible, but also it tastes good. You know, so do yourself a favor, head over there and grab yourself some Hemp Force protein. And also, I'm a huge fan of the Shroom Tech Immune. There's two types of Shroom Tech, the Shroom Tech Sport, which is my pre-workout, and the Shroom Tech Immune. And the Shroom Tech Immune is based on chaga mushroom, which is the highest ORAC value food in the world. Okay, so we're talking about the highest antioxidant thing that you'll ever find. You know, red wine is awesome. And it makes you feel kind of, you know, different, get your little head changed. But it's not as high as chaga. Chocolate's awesome. It's not as high as chaga. Blueberries, acai, you name it. Chaga's just off the charts. So that's number one. Number two, it's clinically proven to improve your MK cells, so your natural killer cells activity upwards of 300%. So these are basically the immunological weapons that defend your body against anything you're exposed to.
Right.
So it's training your immune system to be smarter.
Anything?
Right. What?
Most anything.
It's really, this is what it is. It's it's immunomodulator, right? So it helps you to adapt to your conditions no matter what you're faced with.
That's awesome.
And that's what humans are. You know, we are adaptable.
Right.
But it can be tough in our world today where we're surrounded by so much stress. But having things like this gives you a lot of leverage. So head over there to onit.com/model for 10% off all of your human performance and health supplements. Now let's get into the iTunes review of the week.
This is my favorite part. Another 5-star rating says, totally addicted, Nina P44. I just found this podcast and I was instantly hooked. I have struggled with my health while starting my business for a while now, but I am determined to get back on track. Sean and Jade are so down to earth and make me feel like I'm a part of their circle. They are helping me stay focused and motivated. The transformation is happening and I'm so grateful to have a resource like this. It's inspiring and I hope more and more people will start to tune in so they can change their lives too. I truly believe that my success will come when my body, my mind and soul are in sync, and I am closer than that. I am closer than I've been in a long time. Thank you, Sean and Jade.
Wow. Body, mind and soul. I love it. I love it. That's what it's really about.
Right.
You know, we can't take our spirit out of the equation.
Right.
You know, and also our mental capacity, because our bodies are just a vehicle. It's the vehicle that we're getting around us. We want to take care of it, but it starts with your inner game. So that's so awesome. Thank you so much for leaving that review, and thank you.
Success to you on your business. We appreciate knowing where and how. Right, handle your biz. We appreciate you sharing how and where you are taking in the podcast. That's great.
Awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for leaving those reviews over on iTunes. Really does mean the world to us. Now let's get into our topic of the day and our special guest. Our guest today is Olympian Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
I need a trumpet. Give me a trumpet.
She was voted by Sports Illustrated as the greatest female athlete of the 20th century.
Yes.
Right? And there's been so many phenomenal athletes, and to have that accolade is just phenomenal. But the thing is, it's well-deserved. She's medaled in 4 different Olympic Games. So that's a span of 16 years.
Exactly.
Right?
She's done more in one series than many have done in a lifetime.
When I was looking up her accolades and her gold medals and all of her achievements, it was too much to fit on one page. It was just so many things. And the big show is really the Olympics. And at the Olympics, she's won 3 golds, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals. And she still has the world record for being a heptathlete, which is just all around, lots of different events. She's just so phenomenal, so talented, and just a really great person, which you're all going to get to learn today. So I'd like to welcome to the Model Health Show, Miss Jackie Joyner-Kersee. How you doing today?
Fine, thank you, and thanks for having me. Hey, Jay.
We are so happy to have you and honored.
Awesome.
Have you been contacted by the Avengers yet to join the Elite Force?
Oh, hey. Put it out there. Right.
So you are a superhero, and this is what I really want to talk about. What is your superhero origin story? What got you interested and excited in athletics in the first place?
What got me having an interest in athletics was that, I had a passion for running, but I didn't realize all the work that it would take to become a great runner.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, I wasn't one of the best runners, and
really?
That challenged me. How I can become better. Yeah. And so trying to improve, if it was 1/10 of a second, if I was running, or 1/2 of an inch if I was jumping, that kept me motivated, and I would go to competitions and I would finish in last place. But that didn't bother me. All I wanted to know that the work that I was putting in was paying off, and I started seeing different results weekend after weekend.
Wow. So who were some of your early motivators or inspiration?
Athletically, a lot of my inspiration, stories I read about Wilma Rudolph, Babe the Harriers, and Wilma Rudolph was really someone that I truly admired from afar, and years later, me making an Olympic team, and she was doing commentating, but then she became my mentor. And someone that, you watched the story on television, you read the book, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in her hotel room, and how she embraced me, and just how she was a beautiful person, a beautiful spirit. And after all she had gone through, after winning 3 gold medals in Tokyo, and then coming back home and not being able to go to a restaurant in her hometown because of the color of her skin. Yeah. But when you would speak with her, she wasn't bitter at all. And I admired that. Yeah. Because all she ever gave me was positive reinforcement and things I should work on. And it was just a blessing.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So everybody, I really want to pay attention to the fact that this world champion came in last, and a lot of us actually feel sometimes that we're last. We're last in our relationships. We're last as being a parent and paying attention to ourselves. We put ourselves last, and we don't often think that there's a way. But if you can go from being last to, being considered the top female athlete in the 20th century. I mean,
in the world.
That's such a great inspirational story.
Yes.
But I'm hearing that having mentors was important. So what do you feel is something that's kind of applicable for people who want to, take their life to the next level, or even just take their health to the next level? What do you think a mentor can do for them, or do you recommend everybody get a mentor?
Yeah, I would. I think having a mentor is very important, but you have to stay true to who you are first.
Yeah.
And then you will find someone that that you would find that balance. And that balance is not always agreeing with you, but someone that's going to be true to you, some of the things you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. And I think that's very important, because even for myself, I might have finished last, but I always had a plan.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we don't plan.
Yeah.
We want instant gratification. And I think you can learn through, I don't look at them as failures. I just look at them as probably stepping stones to try to get to where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
And not let that negativity stop me.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for the solution to the problem. And so, and I think it's so important when, if you're trying to find a mentor or someone that you want to work with, but you just gravitate to that person spirit, watch them, study them, and what is it about them that you like? What is it that they could do or support something that you're not doing? And it's not so much supporting, but maybe filling a void.
Yeah.
If you're having a difficult time listening, then if that person is telling you to listen, then you find yourself all of a sudden listening to your mentor. Right. Because now you're learning how to listen.
Yes.
And then now you're learning to put things into action. What is your action plan? And what does that look like?
Yeah. I think that's so powerful. Listening, I really feel it's a valuable skill, and it's something you learn, especially like active listening.
Yes.
And a lot of people wonder like how this show and how we kind of achieved the success. When I grew up, I was like the shy, quiet kid. I was listening all the time, and when I'm not speaking or, doing a show, I'm very quiet and I'm just listening and consuming and learning from people like you. I just kind of immersed myself in your world the last couple of weeks in preparation for this. And it's just so exciting to talk to you. So you brought up something really important and valuable, talking about having a plan. And the quote comes to mind is Benjamin Franklin that said, if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail, right? So I've got to reiterate the fact that having a plan and knowing where you want to go is so critical. And I want for just to kind of share some of the story and take us with you of your plan and how kind of things unfolded with you coming from East St. Louis, where I spent a nice chunk of my childhood as well, not considered a hotbed of talent or even success, period, from going from there to, you went to UCLA, correct? Yes. So take us from, I guess, maybe from high school. What got you to go out to California? How did that feel? Take us with you.
Share the plan.
Well, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by great coaches. Coach Nino Fenoy, who was my age group coach, along with George Ward. And the time I was 9 years of age, I loved running, but I wasn't good. But I realized that if this is something that I want to pursue, that I have to put the hard work in. And so by the time from 9, I would do competitions, and probably 4th through 8th place and sometimes 9th place receive ribbons, and then 1 through 3rd got on the podium. And so after competing weekend after weekend, I realized over time that I want to get on the podium. So my plan was to go from the grass to the podium, and going from the grass competition wise, medal ceremony wise, to get on the podium. Then I realized as I continue on my journey that usually the top 3 make our national teams. So if you're competing on the age group level or AAU or TAC at that time, at the Athletic Congress, that you would make some type of national team. So it wasn't until I was 14 when I saw the 76 Olympic Games on television. And I remember seeing Evelyn Ashford, and she wore pigtails just like me. Her was cornrow, and I saw young ladies doing what I was trying to do. And the whole 76 Olympic Games was about, the perfect 10, seeing Nadia Combinich, and every little 14-year-old thought they could be a gymnast. But it was just great to see someone that age, so young, and I was young, but I'm at home watching this on television, and I'm like, oh, I want to go to the Olympics, and I went to my coaches and I said to them, do you think I can make it to the Olympics? And they said, yeah, you have the potential, but you have to be willing, you got to work hard. And, as a youngster, you think you're working hard anyway. But seeing Evelyn Ashford, they put the university at that time, it was UCLA.
Yeah.
So that played in my mind. And then maybe 2 years later, I remember seeing Ann Myers and Anita Ortega play. At that time, it was the AIAW division, they called it, before it became NC2A, an AIAW championship against Maryland. And I played basketball. So I'm like, UCLA got to be the school, not knowing if they were going to come to East St. Louis and recruit me. And we had a phenomenal team that our senior year, we went undefeated, 33-0 in basketball. Every coach from around the nation came to our gymnasium. But UCLA was my school of choice because growing up in the Midwest, I competed in the cold a lot and got tired of and just thinking if I go to California, at least it'll be sunshine and warm weather. That's what I was thinking. So I get to UCLA and played on a basketball scholarship, playing basketball. But my heart was always with trying to make the Olympic team in track and field. And eventually, years later, I tried to make my first Olympic team. Make the team, don't do as well as I wanted. And that's because I had an injury, and psychologically, I made the injury out more than what it was at that time, because I had never been injured before, and it was just a lot to deal with. And even though for someone else, a silver medal would be great, but for me, and I knew in my heart I had the talent to be a gold medalist. So I just prayed and hoped God would bless me to make another Olympic team 4 years later. And I said I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally. Physically, I knew I had the gift, but you have to have the total package.
Yes. Wow. So much there.
It is.
So good. I really love the part when you're talking about seeing the athletes, like on television, and it changing your paradigm. There's a wonderful book. I really love this book. It's called The Talent Code. And it's looking at the fact that it's not, a lot of times we think that this person is a born genius and phenomenon. Occasionally that happens, like 1 in a billion times, but most of the time there's conditions that help to create that person's character and their skill. And so one of the big things for a lot of countries that are in poverty, for example, is seeing that another person for their country did something phenomenal, right? Yes. So there's a story about a country that Andrew Jones is from. He was a player for the Atlanta Braves, and I think he won 10 gold gloves. And once the people in his country saw this, it just became this drive for all these kids, and now they're just putting people in the major leagues over and over and over again. And so same thing for you is seeing that template, seeing what's possible. And also the story comes to mind of Roger Bannister. Nobody, they thought it was physically impossible to run a 4-minute mile.
Right.
After he did it, then 13 more people did it within the next 2 years. Even high school, at this point can break the 4-minute mile. And it's changing the paradigm. And I think that's so important to have good examples.
Well, that's the premise of our program, being the Model Health Show and setting forth this example and showing that it can be done, and the accessibility. We've gotten review after review that, wow, I feel like I can do it now because of what I learned and experienced and was exposed to on this program. And so from that exposure, you kind of figured out I can go a little further. You went from grass to podium, but grass to gold, actually.
Amazing.
Along the way. So that bigger picture may not have been there, but you kept pressing toward a new mark.
Yes.
That's very admirable.
And I think sometimes we have to get our own way. And sometimes we put up barriers without realizing we are putting up barriers. And I've always believed that it should never be a limit to whatever it is that you want to accomplish. And through skills, we all have skills, but we have to really sharpen those skills. And that's where the preparation comes in. And once that preparation is there, you never know where you're going to end up.
Did that help you with your injury and the setback there?
Yes.
To press through that moment?
Yes, I had to I work with my physical therapist, and I had to allow them to do their job. I had to get out of my own way. And my mind was blocking me because my leg was heavily bandaged. That means something's wrong. No, they were trying to protect the leg so I wouldn't do further damage to it. But in my mind, that meant I couldn't run, but I could run. And I was running. I was running faster than what I had done in our previous Olympic trials. But psychologically, it was something must be wrong because I got a bandage on my leg.
Right.
So.
Just overcome those barriers. So can you take us through, first of all, heptathlete? Can you share with what that is? What does that consist of for everybody?
Yes. The heptathlete is the athlete. Heptathlon is the event, and it's 7 events. It's the 100-meter hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, the 200 meters. We do that on the first day. We come back the second day with the long jump, the javelin, and the 800 meters.
Wow.
So 7 events.
And so you're the world record holder for that event, right?
Yes, I'm the world record holder in that event.
To this day.
Oh, yeah.
That's so powerful.
right.
So
That's right.
powerful. You're the first woman to actually break like 7,000 points in that, right?
Yes, that was my goal, to break 7,000 points. And because in your mind, you look at each event and you say, oh, okay, I can get 1,000 points in each event. But no, you have to really study the events.
Yeah.
Some events that I realized in the 100-meter hurdles, yes, I can score 1,100 points. High jumping, I know I have to stay over 188 or 6 feet 2 inches consistently to get over, 1,200 points. The shot put is a very difficult event. If I throw 50 feet, that might give me 700 points. So there's 300 points down. And that's an event that I would try to concentrate a lot on, but I really didn't need to. I need to concentrate on that high jump.
The high jump.
200 meters, I can get over 1,200 points. Come back the next day, the long jump. If I'm jumping over 7 meters, over 23 feet, then I'm over 1,200 points. In the javelin, throwing it at 164 consistently, that's going to get me at 800 points. And then the 800 meters, I knew running 210 is equals to 965 points. So wherever I was, I kind of knew what I needed to do.
I love it. She had the plan and the strategy.
Right. And she could
and the
throw
way
a
she's
javelin that
rattling them
far.
off. Right.
It was like,
I'm like, oh.
if you could throw a javelin that
So if I can
far,
just kill this record here and there,
you better not try to run from her.
I surrender.
Hit you up. So it's having that strategy. And also I hear you saying, focus more on your strengths and assure up your weaknesses. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not quite.
No.
In training, it was focusing on the weaker events to make sure, because those are the events that would get you off your game, your mind to wonder and start doubting. So in training, I would concentrate a lot on, it wasn't that the high jump was a weaker event for me. It was crucial in me staying in the competition, because whereas I might run the hurdles well, but a lot of the young ladies, if I'm only high jumping 5'10" or 6 feet and they going 6'4", that's a 300 point
Difference.
jump.
Right.
So, and then the shot put was one of the events I wanted to work on, but my coach never felt the need because he understood the points. But to me, I always wanted to throw 50 feet because that meant something.
Yeah. That's so cool. So I guess it mentally is like the events that you were great at is just kind of like, I got this one. I got this locked down. Let me focus on shoring up these things so that I stay in within range.
Right. And you always want to keep a balance, because whenever I went with the attitude, I got it locked down, I run into trouble. So I really try to stay humble.
Yeah.
And not think, because I know I love the long jump. But when I would take on, like, the long jump is my event, then I would get into trouble. Because that's really my bread and butter event. That's where the event I'm looking to put the competition away. I really want to try to jump 23 feet plus.
Right.
Because I know I'm the only one in the field that can do that. But if I don't, then if I go 22 is okay, but I'm devastated.
So it's like finding that healthy balance of confidence, but not getting too narcissistic, not being like the Kanye West of track and field.
Right. You want to be confident, but not cocky. And, because we're out there together for 8-9 hours.
Yeah.
And you become friends. You are competitors, but you do become friends. But for me, it was always trying to maximize each event point-wise, because I really want to run the 800 meters. So it's like, okay, so if I misstep somewhere, that means I got to run a little faster than that. 965 is 210, because I know majority of the girls, they're going to run 203 and 202, and I'm not going to run that. I know that. I'm like, no, I'm going to stay right in my lane and run my time.
Right. And let that work to your advantage.
Right, yes.
I want to talk a little bit about that and go more in depth, because I'm hearing that there was a lot of like internal dialogue and just self-talk. So what is the importance of kind of having that affirmative attitude and healthy conversation with yourself in your mind when you're working to achieve a goal?
Healthy conversation with yourself, for me, was very crucial. I was always feeding myself positive thoughts. I would visualize a lot. I would always see myself executing what I wanted to do. And even if I was in a crucial situation, I would always try to find something good out of what I was trying to do to pump me up. You know, I would always say, come on, Jackie, you can do this. And I would constantly run through my mind, never give up on yourself, always believe. You can turn a doubter into a believer. You can do this, you know, and always just kept that positive energy around me. Even when my legs felt heavy, I would think about my mechanics. I'm thinking about keeping my arms in 90 degree, getting my heel to my butt so my leg can come through, making sure I'm in a figure 4. Always thinking about what I needed to do to execute a good performance. Because if I'm running and I say to myself, oh, I'm tired, then you're exhausted.
Right.
All of a sudden you running like you got bricks or something on your shoulder, you know, pulling you down. Yes.
Yes.
It works both ways, you know, the positive things you say to yourself and the negative things. You know, if there's studies done where individuals get up in the morning and it's all set up, you know, there are specific people set up at specific points to tell them, you know what, you don't look too good today. You know, are you okay? Are you sick? And by the end of the day, they're starting to express symptoms, you know, of having a fever or cold symptoms because they're getting this environmental feedback and they believe it, which is the key, because you still have control over your own mind if you're aware of it. If you're not, then you're going to be subjected to what the environment says. And I'm sure that there was a lot of haters even then, but you know, it's having that positive conversation with yourself. I love that.
And I think I think it's very crucial, even the company that you keep. Because a lot of time, if a person is negative, they don't realize that they're negative.
Yeah.
You know, it is not a compliment if you see someone, oh, you don't look good today. You know,
right.
So
if somebody's losing weight, like people say, you don't look as fat.
Right. You know, but it's really trying to help that person to work with themselves, because sometimes they don't realize that they're giving off that type of negative energy. Right. You know, and I just think that it's so important to never lose sight of what you stand for and what you want.
And it's contagious.
Yes.
So you talked about changing people's mind. You can always change their mind about you.
Yes.
It's contagious.
Yeah. That really speaks to a really important word to me, which is compassion. You know, so even for the people who are bringing the rain cloud, you know, when they come around, still having compassion for them and understanding that they just want to be happy. They want the same things that we do. So, but it's still up to us of what we're going to surround ourselves with. So
what conditions will allow ourselves to be in.
Yeah.
I'm really curious now. So now that we know what it consists of, you know, your big events, what do you feel was your greatest Olympic moment? Can you share that with us? There's so many, I know, but maybe let's just say, what do you feel was like your greatest Olympic Games?
I would say that, I mean, for me, it's a combination of all 4 of the games. And the reason being is because of what I've learned, what I was able to learn from each one. So in my first Olympic Games in '84, dealing with an injury, realizing that I want to be positive, but negative thoughts. Right. You know, I was thinking cost me not to do as well as I thought I should have done. And having the strength to make the Olympic team and winning back-to-back goals, you know, is a great accomplishment. To be able to do it in the Olympic Games and to also break a world record is very significant. And then coming back and doing something 4 years later in my third Olympic Games that had never been done, to win back-to-back gold medals in the multi-events. And then my final Olympic Games coming full circle, dealing with an injury that was far worse than the one I had in '84. But I was able to compete in the long jump. Not being able to do the heptathlon was, you know, bothersome, but
because I know you had to pull out from that one, in order to save yourself for the long jump.
Yes, and so winning that bronze medal.
You got to share the story of that, because I think it was like, so tell us the event.
Yes, competing in Atlanta, my last Olympic Games. And
here on home soil.
Yeah, on home soil. And going through the first event in the heptathlon, and all of a sudden lining up for that event, you know, after waking up, not knowing that we had the bomb scare. Right. And so lining up, my heat comes after, I think 3 heats prior to me, races before me. all of a sudden the rain comes. I got this bandage on my right leg, and I come out the blocks. I win my heat. I win my race, but then going into the high jump, and as I'm approaching the high jump, and even though my right leg is the leg I long jump off of, but the left leg is my takeoff leg for the high jump. But when I'm doing the penultimate stride, where the short, long, short to go into there, I would have to really push off the right leg. And as I'm doing that, I can feel my leg grabbing in the warm up, and the bar is only at 5'5", you know, and I'm talking about I'm gonna be jumping 6'2", and I'm crashing into the bar. And so I walk away and I hear Bobby's voice, and I'm thinking he's, you know, over in the stands, and he's actually on the apron of the field saying, "No, I'm gonna pull you." I was like, "No, let me try one more time. Let me try one." He said, "No." I think that, you know, long jump is what you love the long jump, and you never had an opportunity just to compete in that event. So let's give your legs a break, and let's see with this 3-day rest, let that leg calm down and see if you can come back and compete in the long jump.
So Bobby, your husband and coach, he just kind of affirmed to you that we're going to do this for the long jump. So just save your body, save your energy. And then so you get to the day of the long jump.
Yes, I get to the qualifying day. I qualify okay, come back the next day, and I'm ready. I'm running down the runway, and I'm hitting the board, landing into the pit, and I'm thinking like, wow, that's 23-footer. Look at the official and the mark is 21 feet. I'm like, oh gosh, you know. So I'm going back down, sitting down, and I have like it looks like a hammer, but it's a wooden stick. So my leg is bandaged, so I'm trying to cross friction my legs in between the jumps to keep the scar tissue down, and trying to stay moving around, but also trying to conserve my energy for the long jump. So my next attempt, same thing. The distance are not there, but I'm steady, like talking positive to myself, you know, and it's like, whew. So then third jump, a little better, but not where the competition is, because right now we got 2 jumpers over 23 feet. So it's like, okay, I really got to work. And I think on my 4th attempt, I end up fouling. I didn't get a mark. Yeah. And now my 5th attempt, I'm still in 6th place. And then it comes down to my last attempt.
Wow.
I'm in 6th position. And I remember lining up at the top of the runway. I go through everything I want to do, coming through my run, seeing it, visualizing, executing, hitting the board, climbing in the air, looking for the top of the trees, trying to hold myself in the air for at least a second. And I'm visualizing all that. And I'm telling myself, you could do this. You know, you tell young people all the time, never give up on themselves. Everybody probably have counted you out. You don't count yourself out.
Yes.
And I said, Jackie, you tack that board. If that leg goes out, they're going to send a gurney out there, and they're going to pick you up, and they're going to remove you from the track. But you give it all you got to give. I come running down there in the middle, legs coming up, 29 feet, 2 inches away from the board. I got 4 steps to execute to make sure I hit the board, climb in the air, hold myself for at least a second, and land in the pit. Look back, saw the white flag, mean good jump. And when he put 7 meters up, I was like elated.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in my heart, I was going for the gold.
Yes.
Because if I would have been just going for the bronze medal, which I ended up getting, then I would have ended up still in 6th place.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
And for me, that story for anyone, never underestimate the power of you. Never underestimate what you can do. You know, always believe when everyone else have counted you out, you find a way, and you can, you know, turn a doubter into a believer.
Yes.
And that's what I truly believe. And that's why that bronze medal means more to me.
Sure.
You know, and I always say this than the gold. And I think maybe because I have gold medals, I can say that. But that performance was full circle. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
You even changed the doubter within yourself.
Yes.
You can make the doubter within you become a believer.
Yes.
That I will play this again and again every morning, probably.
So powerful. So
And I
powerful.
love how you tell it. Do they have commentators for the long jump? Because that was good. I was there.
I know,
You know,
me too.
I
Like,
held
I
my
was-
breath. You know,
I'm in the
looking
air
at
for 1
trees.
minute.
Right.
Trees.
Yeah.
I was there
For sure,
too.
for sure. Looking for the
Wow.
white flag, you know. That is a wonderful story.
So, well, let's go ahead and shift the conversation. Thank you for sharing that. That's so awesome. I was right
I'm
there
still
with you.
there.
I didn't know you was
right.
in
Right.
the
You
tree.
forgot I was here, right? I was in the tree.
Look at Jay. So now I want to kind of shift the conversation to something I'm really passionate about, which is longevity, you know, and I'm still pretty young and you are too, you know, in
thank you.
fairness,
Right.
you know, but
Count
as
me
we,
in. Don't forget me.
of course,
I'm in.
but as we start to progress in age, you know, a lot of people start to place more and more limits on their mind. And there was a quote that you shared before, and it says that age is no barrier. It's a limitation you put on your mind. You know, you literally said that. And it's something that I would say. And then I came across your quote in research and you was just like, I must have picked that up subliminally from you, you know, and that's where the real game is happening. It's like, as you get older, if you think you can't do something, then you already know what the outcome is,
Yeah.
you know? So I want to talk about what you've done to kind of maintain your health and take care of yourself, because you still look good.
Thank you.
Real talk. And whereas a lot of athletes after their playing days are over, you know, just kind of, you know, balloon up and lose a lot of their health and their functionality. So what do you think about kind of taking care of yourself? What has changed for you since those days to now?
You know, what's changed is that I'm no longer, you know, training to be a competitive athlete. I've always believed in being fit for life. It's challenging, you know, because your schedule change and different things that where I was as an athlete, I'm on a routine schedule all the time.
Right.
And I always had certain goals I was trying to meet. Now, as a non-competitive athlete, I still have a schedule. I still want to try to find time to try to work out, do as much as I can, and with the understanding that I don't have to do a whole lot, but just finding a way to get something in and working towards what my goals are, not the goals of someone else. Not, you know, I go into the gym or someone always want to challenge. Oh, is that all you lifting? I'm like,
Really?
but
See
I
this medals?
right. But I know why
Lift
I'm
these.
lifting.
Yes.
Yeah, see, there's a
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that it's important that, you know, you find what works for you.
Right.
If it's 5 minutes, then do 5 minutes.
Mhm.
You know, don't go and try to do 3 hours when your body can't handle that.
Right. And you said quality. It's
Yes.
quality over quantity, especially now.
Yes, quality over quantity. When I was younger, it was more quantity because you learning technique, you learning different things, you put in the hours, you doing this. And as I became older, it became more quality work.
Yeah.
And it's the same way if I go out and I want to get an hour of exercise, and I might do some ballistics or some fast stuff, or I'm still getting that same quality of work in less than an hour.
Right. And I saw.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, I have a question about your new goals after all that. I mean, first of all, you never put an end cap on where you were going. Great achievements and accomplishments, but you still let there be something more, something else. What is that for you? What does it look like for you now? And how do you take care of yourself? Because I want to look like that.
You know what it is trying to get an hour to 2 hours of some type of active workout, be it if I'm out walking, running, jogging, going into the weight room, or if also doing, if I'm in the pool, or, you know, doing something, just being active in a sense. And then along with making sure that I'm finding a balance with, you know, my nutrition and all that, because back then I had a problem, and still today I have a problem. So it's just a part of life. So we all have things we have to work on. But it's also finding things I could do in moderation, but finding that balance. But the key is recognizing it and being true to yourself, not being afraid to say, you know, I'm not doing this right. And that's how you can invite help in to help you. So my goals with my center, along with my speaking and doing all the things that I do, also plays a role in me staying healthy, and then also just keeping positive people around me. And having positive people around me is not like-minded people, but but it's people that's going to agree with you and disagree when you're wrong. And those are good friends to have. And then also, I think that something we were talking about earlier, that a lot of times people don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
And the work is so important. So the results that I'm looking for, the goals that I have for myself, and that's why I say there's never a limit. I always believe in working hard every day, working towards whatever, and it takes work.
Despite the pain?
Despite the pain.
Got it.
Yes.
You know,
Wow.
Got it.
Pain is a good teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and
You
also,
said that right.
you know, there's a lot of research showing that exposing yourself to stresses proactively helps you to adapt and to handle stresses that come up accidentally or
Random.
random stuff, because you've actually conditioned your nervous system, your muscular system, your hormones to be able to defend yourself. And working out is like a perfect way to expose yourself to that kind of it's called a hormetic stress, you know. But also there's other kinds of exercise, and you're a proponent of walking, and I'm a huge fan of walking.
Yes. I tell you, walking was a part of our training, you know, and it would help us to start loosening up our ankles, and before we get into really doing a lot of, you know, the quick running or power jumps or whatever it is we might have been doing. And I would hope that people don't look at, you know, like working out as a punishment, because some people do, you know. Pain and punishment, you know, you don't put them together, you know. Think of the pain towards what you're trying to gain from it, you know. And if you're doing any type of exercise and you feel pain, that means stop, because it shouldn't be painful at all.
Yeah.
You know, and just like it shouldn't be a punishment. You know, I see these people and they do kids, they talk about, well, go do a lap. And so kids don't want to run because they think running is a punishment, and it's not. It's fun.
Right. And kids will naturally,
Yes.
in their natural state, kids, like I was just today when I was getting my son in the car to take him to school, he's 3 years old, he just darted off across the my front lawn. It's like, man, come on, we got to go get to school. He just wants to run. It's just that the way that we get conditioned would start to pull that out of us with a lot of television, video games, all those kind of things. Then, you know, because of the stimulation, it's like it's an addiction. And now as adults, you know, a lot of adults, and I know that some people listen, they're going to be like, yeah, that's me. They got a little bit of addiction to these games on your phone, you know, like Candy Crush, right?
Call them out, Sean.
Or whatever it might be.
Call them out.
And it's because we actually get a little bit of a dopamine hit, you know, so when we, you know, get to a next level, and people walk around with their little belts. You know, I'm on level 400. What does that translate to in life? You know, and so it's just looking at what are your goals, because a lot of people also say, I don't have time. I don't have time. When you've got time for Candy Crush, you've got time to watch a whole season of The Walking Dead in one night. You know, there's always time. It's just putting a priority on what's most important to you. You know, and by the way, so walking is a great time. And we call it the net time, no extra time, to leverage that opportunity to learn something. You put on a podcast, an audio book, you know, or just some inspirational music or something like that to fulfill you, to build up your soul and your spirit and also your mind. And a reason that I'm a huge fan of walking, and a lot of people don't notice because they would see you and it's like, she just run all the time. Walking is a great form of exercise because it doesn't release a lot of stress hormones, but it releases a lot of the positive hormones, the endorphins, the enkephalines that make you feel good. So you kind of get like a walker's high, right? But also it makes you more insulin sensitive. So that means your body can help to process insulin better, more intelligently, instead of your body essentially getting in a place where it can store fat easier, right? Whereas if you're running a lot, it's a very catabolic kind of, a lot of stress hormones getting produced. So a lot of runners find, and this is more long distance runners, when they stop running, and they don't run for a long time, they start to gain weight really quickly. Whereas a lot of sprinters, they're able to maintain their figure a little bit easier than a lot of long distance runners. So just want to throw that
There's
out there.
the evidence right there.
Looking good.
Okay.
So, Jackie, there's this other great quote that I found, and this is what I want to talk about now, kind of shift the conversation to, is you said your environment doesn't define you. I don't have a lot of money, but I can help train people and I can talk to people. We can all be mentors to the next generation. So what drove you to make that statement, and what are you doing right now to kind of live by that statement that you made?
What drove me probably to make that statement was really just because you grow up in a certain environment, that environment truly doesn't define you. What defines you is what you want your narrative to be. And so for me, going outside of the community and finding a way to come back, bringing resources might be bringing friends, bringing people that can help someone, because I was taught that when I was growing up, to always give back without knowing that it was giving back. And because of that, you hear when people talk about East St. Louis, it's always in a negative. There are a lot of great people over there and trying to do great things. And I'm just a small portion of that's trying to say, my environment does not define me. My environment motivate me to bring others in here, to inspire a whole another generation to be the best that they could be. And so in being a mentor, for me, is coming back in that environment, not talking about growing up in East St. Louis, but not stepping foot over there. And then also trying to help people because I think I'm better than them. No, I walk these same streets, seeing some of the same teachers, some of the same people, had an impact on my life. So can I just do a small bit of that to help someone else? And hopefully they'll pave the way and come back and make a difference in another generation.
Wow.
And it resonates and reverberates on and on. That's fabulous.
What do you feel personally? How does that make you feel being able to do that? I don't feel, I realize how blessed I am, and it's for me to recognize my blessing, but not to get caught up in, oh, great job. No. Yeah, all right.
So continue doing what I'm doing, because I don't want to see it come, to a halt, and I don't want to shortchange it, and I don't want to take it for granted.
I love it. So again, it's that balance, because for a lot of us, it feels like this is kind of what I'm sensing from you, is that it feels like it's a necessity rather than an obligation.
That's right.
And something that you get to do, and you're in a wonderful position to be able to do that. And speaking to the fact that, and this is in everything in life, it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness.
Yep.
And you don't need a lot of money to be able to contribute. You can contribute your time, you can contribute your skill, you can contribute your connections,
your story,
your story. So valuable to be able to help another human being or many human beings just by your beingness, so powerful. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's not the things that we've accomplished that's going to fulfill us. It's giving, and so you have a foundation, correct? Or I think you got like multiple things going on. But so can you share a little bit, like what's most like the biggest driving force for you right now?
Wow. The biggest driving force? Well, we have a community center over in East St. Louis, the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Center. We're on 37 acres. The building itself is 41,000 square feet. And we have do after school program. I have my Winning in Life program. We use sports as a hook to get kids in there, but to expose them, because I think exposure is so important. And it's something that you said that I think resonate with all of us, is that we all have a story. And I think storytelling is so important and could be very vital to our kids, because I grew up on not being able to have my own vision or what I thought could be, and having faith. Because when you talk about you want to go places and your parents, just trying to make ends meet, you got to have a lot of faith. And I think that is so important with our kids today, is storytelling, giving them images, positive images, so they could believe, when you walk the streets of East St. Louis, North St. Louis, or just St. Louis in general, that you can be more than what people say you can't be.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So wonderful.
The last thing that I like to ask my guests is, and you've already summed it up pretty nicely, but what is the model that you're here to set with the way that you're living your life? What is the example that you're here to set?
The example that I'm here to set is that I always tell people to study Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the person, not get caught up in the accolades or the medals, and because all that's materialistic, it can be taken away at any given time. But what I stand for can never be taken away. My soul.
Yes.
Love it. Wow.
Love it.
This is so good. Just
Yes.
want to keep going.
Yeah, well.
But I know you're a busy woman, and I just appreciate you so much. I appreciate the person that you are, you know, and I see you showing up in the community, and that inspires a lot of people, you know, and you're somebody, you changed the game, you know, you changed the perception and motivated so many athletes in general, not just women athletes, but athletes overall, to want to take their stuff to the next level. And I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for that. You're amazing.
Well, thank you guys. I'll be back.
That's for sure. That's
Awesome.
a deal.
Well,
I'm going to work on my long jump. Make that 5 piece, right?
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Model Health Show. I appreciate you so much. And I just implore you to take something that you've learned today and go apply it. And find a way to be more, have more resourcefulness in your life and not focus on the resources that you have, because the resources are limited. Your resourcefulness is not. There's always a way. When there's a will, there's a 1,000 ways.
That's right.
So thank you so much for tuning into the show. Have a great day, and I'll talk with you soon.